anymore, and I think we should start. First of all, thank you so much to all who were joining and joined. So I would just tell everyone to take some moment and introduce yourself in the chat box. You can also unmute yourself because the participant number are less. So of course you can unmute yourself and just tell about yourself a little bit. We have the time. So please feel free to talk about you in the chat box or just unmute yourself and tell to all the participants.
Sohan, I think Sohan had some.
Yeah, Shohon wants to tell something. Can you just unmute him? Yeah.
Yeah, hello guys, good evening. My name is Sohan. I'm from CSR NIO. Today, from our side, Falaksign is presenting. Hi. Actually, we can't enable camera and audio. That's why I texted chat box also to Sunanda also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shohon. It's lovely to have you here. So I would like to brief a little bit about today's webinar. You still have the time. I mean, I'm telling about everyone, but we have our speakers, invited speakers, so we need to give them time as well. So that's why I would like to brief about this program a little bit. Like I planned this event initially in a context of Indian ECOPs because I already think that Indian ECOPs are doing so many wonderful things, but everyone, I think we don't have the privilege to share our work. So it's very important that from India, we have our own ocean literacy hub and we can internally talk about ourselves, introduce ourselves, and maybe discuss a few more things. So the thing is, this is not like, yeah, definitely it was advertised like a webinar, but it's not like a proper webinar. It's kind of internal meeting within Indian ECOPs, so we can talk freely. You know, there are so many limitations, so online we arranged this event so just to talk very freely, and after every presentation you will be given the time to ask the questions. As just feel free, we don't want any isolation here. So that's the message for today. So again, thank you so much for joining, and I'll request all my other members, the panelists, to introduce themselves. So starting with Sunanda, the co-moderator and event organizer for today. Sunanda, over to you.
Hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you so much for joining us today, because it feels great that on a holiday, we have so many participants in India. And that's a very good thing. That's a very positive sign of this webinar. And this particular webinar, as Deparati has already mentioned, you can be as free as you want. You can discuss all what you want to do for ocean. We'll be able to execute it. We promise that we'll execute all your ideas as much as we can. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Nagha, you can just introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. We are so happy that we have you all today. And myself, Anaga. I'm working as a project associate at Wildlife Institute of India. It is a privilege to be a part of this wonderful webinar. Hope you all have a informative session. Thank you.
Sambit, over to you.
Hi all, I am Sambit Singh, working as a project scientist at CMLRE. So in ECOP, I am working as a training and mentoring from mentoring team. So today my job is to handle all the technical things. So good luck.
Okay, Triti and Suchitra, did you guys join?
Dhriti is here. Dhriti is here. I can't.
Please unmute yourself then and talk a little bit about yourself. Okay, I just want to tell a little bit about Dhriti and Suchitra. They are our RRM ECOP interns, and they designed the flyer with speakers logo. So thank you so much, Dhriti and Suchitra, for designing the flyer. Now we'll be moving forward to the first presentation, that is my presentation, because it's very important before starting any event or any webinar. This is our first initiative So I thought I should brief a little bit about ocean literacy, what it's all about, and how we can move forward. And of course, what the work I have been doing. So yeah. Sambit, can you present from your side?
Yes.
Okay, I'm turning off my camera for some technical issues during my presentation.
Now it is visible.
No.
Hello.
Noted.
Wait. Now it is visible now.
No, Sambit, it's not visible. We can only see you're selecting the slides, but not full screen. Yeah, now it's visible.
Yes. Now it is visible now completely.
Yeah. Okay, Sambit, I would request to unmute everyone except me.
Okay. I'm doing that. Yes, you can present.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hi everyone again. This is Dabawati Sengupta. Presently, I am
Sambit, she's also on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Devati, please unmute yourself and.
Yeah, I have unmuted. Okay, thank you, Sunanda. Okay, hi everyone. This is Dabawati. I have just completed my master's in marine science from University of Calcutta, and here I am representing the UN Ocean Ticket endorsed Early Career Ocean Professionals Program. Previously, from September 22 to March 23, I was the one of 2 ECOP Asia interns who supported the Asia Node coordinator in his activities, and now from April 23, I am helping to structure or build the ECOP India node to connect young ocean professionals around India. Our vision is to elevate and strengthen the diverse perspectives of new generations of ocean professionals through a collective voice, ensuring that knowledge is transferred between experienced professionals and ECOPs to promote ocean sustainability for the ocean we want. So today my presentation is all about the introduction to ocean literacy and youth ocean programs in India, as I am representing, or I am the youth focal point of India, and very recently I got selected as a member of Youth Advisory Council. So I'll be representing the youth of India. Next slide, Sambit. Okay, so moving to our first slide, that is ocean literacy. What is its definition? That's like an understanding of the ocean's influence on you and your influence on the ocean. Many of us are not aware of how our day-to-day actions can have a cumulative effect on the health of the ocean and seas, which are necessary resources that must be protected for all life on the planet Earth to exist. In other words, many people are lacking a sense of ocean literacy. Also note that this definition has 3 parts. Understanding alone does not make a person ocean literate. One also has to be able to talk about it with others in a meaningful way and apply what you know to making responsible decisions about marine resources and the ocean. The concept of ocean literacy is based on 7 principles and 45 fundamental concepts. Next slide. Here I'm representing the 10 dimensions of ocean literacy: knowledge, communication, behavior, awareness, attitudes, activism, emotional connection, access and experience, adaptive capacity, trust and transparency, and recommends expanding previously recognized dimensions. Next. So this is our agenda. I'll be talking about all these 3 points. Next, Samvit. So what is the history of the ocean literacy campaign? So ocean literacy was born in the US at the beginning of the 21st century when a group of marine educators and scientists realized that marine science was hardly mentioned in school content. Considering the importance that the sea and ocean have on our planet and on all the life that it nurtures, they believe that has to be reflected in the educational curriculum too. So UNESCO has already set the following goals for the 7 ocean literacy principles. That is, ocean literacy is included in educational curriculum frameworks of all 193 UNESCO member states by 2025. So next. Now we can divide it into 2 parts. Part 1, ocean literacy for all age groups, and ocean literacy from K to 12, that is kindergarten to 12. It's very obvious that we cannot interact with every age group in a very similar pattern or very similar manner. I think choosing subject matter, more specifically even choosing a single word, is very important in the Indian context. And of course, language barrier is also a very important issue we need to address, because when I have been conducting my workshops, I know how much people are like people from Bengal medium, because we already have so many regions in India, it's called subcontinent. So yeah, we have to ensure these factor figures. Next slide. This is just a general way that scope and sequence from principle 1 to principle 7. Like we can focus on principle 1, grades 9 to 12, grades 6 to 8. This is just a general guideline. Next slide, Sambit. Okay, thanks. So on 4th March, I organized my first ocean literacy program in a village school in West Bengal. Designed this program to engage and inspire girl students from underprivileged section of the society and from coastal areas, and to connect them to the sea. I invited a few speakers who encouraged girls by sharing their own work in the marine field. In India, as an MSc student, it was so challenging, we all know, and to host such events and introduce in-person activities. But it went really well, and no external funding was involved. So yeah, it was completely voluntary, and ECOP program endorsed it. So thanks so much. And I also want to highlight this point, like when I was organizing this event in person. So some girls, they have never been to sea. So for them, it was really something going, and Rafael also recorded a video for the girls, and they were so excited. So it was my first event. Next slide. Here I have done a collage. So the vision behind all these events, current students will eventually become the leaders and managers of the public and private sector. So ocean literacy will provide these future leaders with an understanding of how the ocean works and appreciation for the goods and services provided by the ocean. So, and ultimately a drive to incorporate the protection of the ocean into planning and decision making. So in future, I'll be very happy to arrange bigger events with more new contents, lessons, new ideas. That is my initial thought, which also motivated me to join this ocean literacy program. So here you can see from ECOP Asia team, we have a team like dedicated to ocean literacy, and also I've given the BCCIO talk. I think I am privileged enough to be there. and the recently advertised World Ocean Day Youth Advisory Council. So I'll be representing India, and it's an honor. Next slide, Samrit. So now we can focus that the barriers or challenges on the way we all are, I think, facing. So the barriers are like people are still largely unaware of ocean in their lives. Ocean-related topics are often ignored from class 1 to 12 because deemed irrelevant to existing national education standards. Very few ocean scientists are involved in education and outreach. Research groups are very much isolated in their own groups. That's the reference from of India survey I have conducted. I created a survey form for Indian ECOPs to identify the challenges they are facing, and mostly in the marine field. So 95% of them mentioned lack of networking and this issue, like how they're isolated in their own research groups. So now to answer those challenges, next slide, Samrit. Now to answer those challenges, I have taken some responses and the response to the challenge. So first of all, network of organization to ensure our collective effort. We can conduct regional or national ocean literacy survey to identify the current scenario, just like the ECOP India survey. Organizing workshop webinar that we are doing again, and maybe monthly or weekly is not possible, I understand, but maybe monthly. Attract more funds because funding is the biggest challenge. So attract more funds, website, promotional activities. Next. We can also use specific websites for ocean literacy of India and share toolkits opportunities through that. Blue school curriculum like U for Ocean Schools that can be undertaken. And I would also like to mention in Sweden and Portugal was two of the European countries to include ocean literacy in the school teaching program. So I think this should be our next agenda or next planning, that if we can do it or generate it. School curriculum currently does not have any ocean literacy integrated into it, like in Indian school curriculum I'm talking about. So subjects such as life science, biology, or social science, geography together provide the closest link to the 7 principles of ocean literacy. So, but we may think about concepts like ocean literacy beyond the classroom. So, next slide, Samrit. And another biggest thing is like fundraising. So that we can do external funding, we can write proposal, concept notes. Stakeholders engagement is also important. It can be locally, nationally, and regionally. Also collaboration with other partners, partnership like education, fashion, art and craft. So from ocean like organization in Philippines, I have just attached a picture from their organization, that wonderful work they are doing. Next slide, Samrit. So if you want to get involved in the ocean literacy, what from your side you can do, I think, just obtain the copies of ocean literacy framework documents, join an organization which is promoting ocean literacy, any sort of ocean advocacy, represent ocean literacy in climate and environmental education conservation, any sort of conferences, be the voice of youth on ECOP, and start a call for action. Next. Promote local aquariums, science museum, again get funding and participate in the International Ocean Literacy Survey, and promote all ocean literacy social media things like putting hashtag. Next. So these are the this is the slide. You can find the ocean literacy resources here. I have also attached the link. Next. And our contact from ECOP Ocean Literacy team, you can directly contact them. Also, our ECOP Asia Note coordinator, Rafael, and I have also given the websites. Next slide, sir. Thank you so much. So I just tell that in the end, we will conserve only what we love, we'll love only what we understand, and we'll understand only what we are taught. So it's very important that we promote ocean literacy and sort of ocean awareness programs, everything. I am very free to contact and happy to help. So just you can contact me through email or just through my socials. Thank you so much.
Why stop sharing?
Yeah, Sandeep, just stop the sharing. Over to you, Anagha. Just introduce Nanda.
Thank you, Devrati, for your presentation. Next, we have a presentation by Sunanda Narayanan. Sunanda Narayanan is a PhD scholar at the Center of Ocean, River, Atmosphere and Land Sciences in Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, West Bengal. She has completed her Masters in Meteorology from Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kerala. Her current research is on the impact of atmospheric input on the ocean biogeochemistry. She was a part of the informal working group on early career ocean professionals, and some of the short-term goals include clean and plastic-free oceans, which will enable a safe and healthy life of oceans. She was also the co-lead of the Youth Engagement Task Team, currently coordinating early career ocean researchers as a part of ECOP India. Over to you, Sunanda.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Anaga, for that wonderful introduction. And today I'm here to represent the research scholar. So research scholars are the most, I think, the ocean literacy, as far as ocean literacy is concerned, research scholars play a major role for educating young minds from schools to every sector of the society. So yes, I'm Sunanda, and I'm currently coordinating early career ocean researcher group, which is a informal group, and I am a doctoral student from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. So before I move on to my topic, I would like to talk about what is ECOP. So early career ocean professionals. So all of you here right now are ECOPs. So we are all self-identified individuals, a group of young researchers or scientists who are early in their careers in oceanography and allied fields, regardless of their age, and covering all sectors, disciplines, and knowledge systems. Students, researchers, community leaders, fishers, divers, science communicators, and beach cleanup volunteers are all ECOPs. And ECOP program is endorsed by United Nations as a part of United Nations Decade for Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and it was endorsed in 2021. Now, the mission of ECOP program is to incorporate new ways of thinking into the global ocean sustainability and stewardship challenges. And we are doing so by empowering ECOPs with meaningful networking and professional developments, which is exactly why I'm talking about why networking is important for research scholars. And so that we can do some collectively meaningful efforts to protect our oceans. So the pictures that you see in my screen are a part of the contest that we conducted on World Ocean Day 2021. And the theme of the topic was, the theme of the competition was, what does ocean mean to you? So as you can see that ocean means different for different people, right? So this is their picturization of ocean. So, and oceans are really important for us. Now, currently the global ECOP community has more than 4,000 members, and there are about 5 regional nodes and 28 national hubs. And we are trying to build one for India as well. It will be done soon with all the collective efforts of whoever present here. We will definitely be by the next webinar, we'll definitely see India here. And there are 4 tasks teams, and currently this webinar is organized as a part of ocean literacy and about 8 endorsed projects. Now, moving on to some of the ocean literacy activities that are initiated by the research scholars here. Like we have regular science writers among the team of research scholars who write in newspapers, online magazines, columns, and blogs. So some of the examples are Dr. Deepak Gopalakrishnan, who is a science educator and who gives a lot of information about climate change and weather and climate change related topics. And Dr. Srinidhi KS, again, she is a marine geophysicist, but she writes popular science, and she has a column of her own which talks about the latest climate change updates. Now, myself, I have also written for World Ocean Day about the ocean biogeochemistry, and Dr. Anusha Satyanay talks about the carbon inequality, and she's currently a postdoctoral research fellow in Norway. So she talks about how different it is in Norway and how we can incorporate those methods in India in order to achieve the net zero emissions. And then we have yet another very fun concept called as the climate comics, which is a conversation between 2 kids, Ponnu and Jaidu, and it is illustrated by Mithila Varna and conceptualized by myself and Ronnie Peter. The links are given here. I'll of course give it in the chat box. You can go through it. All these are in Malayalam, and I strongly motivate the people who are present here to please do it in other languages also, so that you can be an ocean educator by yourself. And then ECSN conducts regular webinars as a part of Indian Ocean Expedition, International Indian Ocean Expedition. Then there are some working groups such as Association of Fishery Graduates in Kerala, Association of Polar Early Career Scientists, and Femi, of course, a speaker of today, will be talking more about it. And then Setu, yes, we have a representative from Setu, Falak, right now, who will be giving her seminar. And yes, I am coordinating early career ocean researchers. You're welcome to join the group. And collectively, we will all come under the banner of ECOP India, and we'll also attach the community link so that you can join the community if you're already not a part of it. And then Ocean Society of India also conducts webinar for research scholars. But majorly, there are some challenges that are faced by the research scholars in India, and these are the outcomes of the workshop that was conducted in OCCON during the OCCON. And the first very important challenge is the subordination from higher authorities. So while I say this, whenever we are conducting such programs, as Deparati has already mentioned, just like for an MSc students, even it is very difficult for the PhD student to conduct or initiate an activity in India, because we need to go through a lot of processes. So that is one thing that we are facing, the subordination from the higher authorities. Second is the funding, the lack of funding and ample experimental and computational facilities. Say, for example, I'm privileged because I'm a part of IIT, which has a high performance computer. Therefore, I can use it for numerical models. But there are very underprivileged people here who are from smaller universities who do not have enough computational facilities, because of which they should not be held back from doing computational work. So something has to be done related to that as well. And then publishing in open access journal. So I think that it is high time that we should have an option in open access journal if we are an early career researcher. That is, if the first author is an early career researcher, then definitely there should be some waiver given to them, so that the students or the researchers are not held back from publishing in open access journals, which will fetch them more citations. Lack of decision-making power, of course, that is similar to the subordination from the higher authorities. Then, yes, female candidates face a lot of discrimination. So while if we go with any idea, it's always asked, it's always told that we will be assigning some male to that particular female to assist them, because we are basically female candidates are considered to be less subordinate than their male candidates, which should be high time, it should be stopped. And then lack of proper mental health support. That is really an important factor if we consider the research scholars, because most of them have a very difficult mental health situation during their PhD. So which is why a networking or a group of peer group support is very important for research scholars in India, so that they can help each other. Now, why a network? So these are some of the pictures of as a result of the network, the small network that we have. So this is a result of those networks, and we recently were able to initiate an idea of including early career ocean professionals in each of the subsessions during OCCON, and it went off really well. It was a very good opportunity for the young researchers. And so having a network will bridge the gaps between the research scholars. It will help solve scientific problems, which is not possible because talking to your subordinates may have some inhibitions, some may have inhibitions. So, but having a group like this will help us solve scientific problems, talk about it, help each other, etc. And then sharing job opportunities. That is very important in order to share postdoc opportunities, job opportunities, or whatever webinars that is upcoming. It's very important to have a group, informal group or formal group in India, so that we can share the information without any barrier. Then conduct brainstorming discussions. So we were thinking of having monthly webinars through ECOP program, especially the speaker will be an early career scientist, so that they can discuss about the latest prospects of their research here. And now please do join us. Please join our ECOP India community. We'll be definitely sharing the link of the WhatsApp community that we have already initiated. And second is, please do join the Ocean Decade Network. We have a node page dedicated for India. Please do join that. And definitely, I highly recommend all of you to subscribe to the ECOP newsletter, which has chunks of information. So please do join the ECOP. Please do subscribe to the ECOP newsletter. By subscribing to the ECOP newsletter, you will be automatically added to the global registry. And then, of course, we have a Google group. Please do join there if you are an early career ocean researcher, so that we can also think about how to move forward. So that's all with my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sunanda, for your wonderful presentation. I really liked it. So anyone having any question for me or for Sunanda regarding ECOP programs, so feel free to ask, or even in the chat box.
Yes, definitely.
Otherwise, without wasting time, we just want to move to our first speaker. Okay, I hope there is no question. So, introducing Valentina Lovot, the Associate Program Specialist at Ocean Literacy IOC Project Office. Her title of the talk is The Role of Ocean Literacy Within the UN Ocean Ticket. Thank you so much, Valentina. The floor is all yours. Please start.
Thank you very much to all of you for having invited me to be there and to be able to listen to all your activities, and also to give me the opportunity to share what the IOC UNESCO is doing at global level for ocean literacy. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you are able to see the presentation in a proper way. I think yes.
Yes, that's absolutely perfect.
Okay, great, thank you. So I will start with something that I think that all of you already know, but we always think that it's important to remember who UNESCO is. So UNESCO is the United Nations organization that works in different fields, mainly on education, science, and culture, but also in communication and information, and ocean science and services. So having in mind and highlighting the role that UNESCO has, let's consider ocean sciences and services within all the other 4 areas. So there is a continuous communication between ocean science and services and education, ocean science and services and culture, ocean science and services and communication and information. So within this huge framework, there is ocean literacy as well. So the United Nations has developed the United Nations 2030 Agenda, which is an agenda highlighting 17 main goals, the Sustainable Development Goals that we need to achieve by 2030. And within these goals, we have one specific goal, which is the SDG 14, completely dedicated to the ocean, to the life underwater, life below water, sorry, this is the correct name. And to achieve this SDG 14, and to improve and advance the work for SDGs 14 and to achieve the target of these SDGs, in 2021, the United Nations launched the UN Ocean Decade. The UN Ocean Decade, or the UN Decade on Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, is a decade that started in 2021 and is going to finish in 2030, that wants to leverage the role of science and science research and make the science as the service of the society in a way to achieve the ocean we want, we say. So how do we achieve the ocean we want? By identifying and sharing the necessary data and information, but also by generating knowledge and communicating this knowledge with the public, with different stakeholders, with different sectors, and then the increasing the use of ocean knowledge to develop useful skills and soft skills, hard skills in different sectors and fields. So the outcomes that the UN Ocean Decade wants to achieve are these 7 outcomes, which are an ocean that is clean, that is healthy and resilient, that is productive, that is predictable, that is safe, accessible, but that is also inspiring and engaging. And in this inspiring and engaging ocean is where we mainly know and we mainly find ocean literacy. However, ocean literacy and an inspiring, engaging ocean is also fundamental to achieve all the other 6 outcomes, because only if we know and if we are aware, we can then be able to, as you were saying before, to take the right decisions and to drive the right decision and to drive a behavioral change in the society. So ocean literacy is about, in one side, also about education, but education to empower, education to preserve, and education to drive innovation, as I was saying before. And it was already said that ocean literacy is mainly the understanding of the ocean's influence on us and our influence on the ocean, but it's not only about understanding and knowledge, it's also about providing tools to be able to catalyze actions to protect the ocean, to conserve it, regenerate it, and sustainably use the ocean and its resources. So it's about tools, it's about instruments, it's about being able to give to the people the right instruments to undertake the right decision towards the ocean and its resources and ocean management. So it's not only, and ocean literacy is not about only the scientific community or schools or young people and new generations, it's about everyone. So you need to collaborate with different stakeholders at different levels, from the governance to the private sector, from in schools with children, but also with teachers and with educational practitioners. So it regards us as a whole society. So now I will highlight some of the projects that we are running. It will be a really quick view of everything. So if you want to have more details, please contact me or ask question at the end. So this is the main ocean literacy program endorsed by the Ocean Decade. So it's called Ocean Literacy with All, and it's a global level, known also as OLWA. The main aim of this program is to leverage ocean literacy at policy level and decision-making level. So make ocean literacy relevant. So for now, ocean literacy is outside from the blue zone in the main conference. So for example, at the United Nations Ocean Conference, ocean literacy is not inside the blue zone, it's not inside the decision-making program. One of the main aim of this ocean literacy program is to make ocean literacy relevant to all stakeholders, also at governance level, but it's also about research. We don't know how to measure the impact of the ocean literacy program, how to measure behavioral change. So we are really running a program to be able to fill these knowledge gaps. And then it's also about strengthening the global ocean literacy community. So we need to work all together from different part of the world, because ocean literacy needs to be adapted to the local context. It needs to be adapted to local geographies, cultures. It is not something that we framed or it was framed in the US and fits everywhere and all over the world. So we need to have these adaptations measured. So we need to be all together in that. Then we have this U4Ocean Coalition, European Ocean Coalition. In that case, is European-centered, let's say, because we partnered with the European Commission to be able to drive this coalition at the international level, mainly Europe, but the coalition is also open for areas outside Europe. So it's something that you can look at, and is interesting because it's working with different stakeholders. So there is a network of youth, there is a platform for companies and startups, and there is a network of blue schools. So a network of schools that are engaged in ocean literacy projects. Then at global level, we as IOC, UNESCO Ocean Literacy Program, we develop different trainings, and these trainings are targeted for different sectors. Within the trainings, there aren't only lectures or only classes related to, let's say, contents. There are a lot of best practices and case studies coming from all over the world. People that share that decided to share with us their stories and how they are introducing ocean literacy, ocean contests within their own community. And they are doing it in different ways and engaging with different stakeholders depending on the objective that they want to achieve. So these trainings are available and are available in the Ocean Teacher Global Academy, but you can find the videos of these stories and best practices also on the UNESCO YouTube channel. So if you are interested. And then we have this global portal. This is a global portal, is a two-way portal. So it's a place where we as ISC share our materials, events, resources, but where also the community can share their own resources. So this portal is free for use, is something that it's really valuable for the ocean literacy community because it's a place of exchange of information, of knowledge, but also of event and opportunities. So it's something that you really, I suggest you really to look at. Then as IOC, we also developed some toolkits. The first toolkit was the Ocean Literacy for All toolkit that is mainly created for teachers. Then we had the second report that is the state of the art of ocean literacy. That is let's say, global review of where the ocean literacy is today. And then the final report on a new blue curriculum, a toolkit for policymakers on how enable policymakers to introduce ocean literacy within the national school curricula, because as was said before, as UNESCO, we have the objective to be able to implement a blue curriculum in all our 194 member states now within 2025. It's a huge objective, but we are really able to, we are now being really able to attract the attention of the member states on this topic. Then we have a project on ecosystem restoration, which is restoration, preservation, but with ocean literacy. So we empower and collaborate a lot with local communities to make them understanding the real value of the marine resources and the marine environments of their local area. And finally, we have this village, which is an exhibition. It's a travel exhibition that was created for, it's also in Italian. I don't know why there is a sentence, sorry. I just noted. It's an exhibition that was done for the COP that was done in Glasgow. However, now this exhibition was adapted to different contexts, to Italy, and now we are going to do it in China in collaboration with also some other ECOPs from the China node. And it's an exhibition that wants to raise awareness about the relationship and the nexus existing between ocean and climate. Because today we have a huge discussion about climate, but the ocean is always considered as a separate entity. What we want to people and policymakers understand is that ocean and climate are at the same level. You cannot talk about climate without talking about the ocean. So this is one of our main objectives at this point. And finally, the Sea Beyond project, which we are really proud because it's a collaboration between the private sector and UNESCO. It's a 3-year collaboration now. It started as a really small project and now is becoming really bigger and wider because collaborating is not only about signing a partnership, it's also about growing together. So what we are doing with this project now, we created 2 educational modules, 2 editions of an educational module, which is a challenge that encompasses schools from all over the world. And then we created a kindergarten of the lagoon, which is really a kindergarten for children from 3 to 5 years old to be able to connect them with the local environment since their infant age. Then we developed together a documentary on the deep sea, which is called In Deep White Forest in collaboration with the National Geographic Explorer. Then we developed a training for all the staff of this, let's say, company. So we are able to empower them and make the staff learning more about the ocean, about ocean literacy, and about why their company and the company they're working for is investing on that topic. And in the next years, we are going to develop, thanks to this partnership, a global Ocean Decade Collaborative Center on Challenge 10. So it's not only about, it will not only be about ocean literacy, but about the human-ocean relationship. So it's beyond ocean literacy. It's beyond, if ocean literacy is beyond ocean education, human-ocean relationship is also beyond ocean literacy. So it's always an evolution, I would say. And thank you very much. This is my presentation. If you have questions, I'm available. You can write us in the 2 emails, my personal email, but also in the general ocean literacy email. We are going to read them. And for anything, we are here. And we also want to really collaborate with you and find a way to remain in touch after this event. Thank you very much.
Thank
you so
Valentina.
much. Yes, Ananda, carry on.
Yeah, thank you, Valentina, for the wonderful presentation that you have given based on ocean literacy. And I would like request the participants to ask questions, because this is a very important topic today, so that you will also get to know if you have any further doubts regarding ocean literacy and how to get in touch with ocean literacy team. This is a wonderful opportunity. So please, participants, over to you. Please to ask questions to Valentina, because she's available here.
Yeah, in the meantime, thank you so much, Valentina, for such enriching presentation. And I would really request all the participants who have the opportunity to ask questions. So please do so, or otherwise you can mail her.
Okay, so Valentina, I just have a one question. So as Debarati has also mentioned in the presentation, and even in my presentation, that we have a lot of activities that is going on in India right now. So, but we don't have ocean literacy as a part of curriculum in schools. So is it possible that through the collective effort of research scholars and scientists in India, is it possible to, incorporate ocean literacy, at least in the high school section? Is it possible? How do we do that? It would be great if we can incorporate that while the Ocean Decade program is going on, so that will be an excellent opportunity for the kids to learn about it.
So yes, so this is a huge question. Yes, it's a way, it's something that needs to be done both as a top-down approach, but also as a bottom-up approach. So you need to work in these 2 levels to be able to have the blue curriculum have the ocean inside the curriculum of the schools. It's really difficult. It's something that we are, let's say, trying to move on day by day, because it's difficult, because it's political, I will say. And as you say, policies requires a lot of time, and changing a curriculum requires a lot of time. So for what I suggest is to still continue to do programs within schools, but not only about going to schools and, let's say, being the teacher to teach to students, but, for example, organize events and workshops and training for teachers, because teachers will remain in the schools and they can use this knowledge to teach to different years and in different years. And so if you train the teacher, then you have, let's say, a wider impact, because one teacher teaches to different students in the same time. So this is something I suggest. So working with teachers, but also let's try to find a way to be able to connect with local governments. Start with small actions. So perhaps try to engage the local government to run a program engaging a certain number of schools. So I think that to start, small actions are the best way. And then ask for support at local level, at international level. So yes, remain in touch with us, for example, because this is our main objective for the next years. So it's something that we are really willing to achieve and working to achieve, but it's not something easy to do because it encompasses really different levels, different peoples, a lot of peoples, and a lot of time.
Yes, that is a good idea, like to train the teachers, because that's a very good point that I think we'll take forward for sure, because training the teachers will help the kids to, you know, like during their moral science class or any other class, like during their game period or the PT period, during that time, they can actually talk about like small snippets of these beach cleaning activity. They can take them to there so that this can be done. So we will definitely do that through our program with, of course, support from the global team. Definitely, we will try to
So, for
incorporate
example,
that.
when you do a beach cleanup, not only stop at the beach cleanup, but try to inspire them to look what there is behind plastic, why you are collecting plastic from the beach. It's not only about cleaning the beach, it's not only about, cleaning. It's about rebuilding an environment that is healthy for you and for other organisms. So who is living there? Which was the state of this ecosystem before plastic arrived. So let's try to make them reflecting on that kind of topics. And perhaps when you collect plastic, I don't know if you're already doing it, but let's connect with a local university. So perhaps they can collect the data about the kind of plastic, from where this plastic came from, and provide this data to the schools once the project is finished. So they say they are not only, let's say, cleaning, but they are also be empowered because they also are also supporting research. So they feel rewarded in some way and
Basically,
inspired perhaps
yes.
to still work on that topic in the future.
Yes, and basically the school students are also working towards the UN decade, and we'll make them feel so, right? Yeah, we'll make them feel more important. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then I have
Yeah.
2 questions here. What are my 5-year plans with the Indian ECOPs? So this is our first time we met. So I hope to be able to, I also have some ideas on how to collaborate in the future. I really hope to be able to engage you with different projects that we are running, but I want that is going to be on the other way around. So I think this could be a new starting point for the next 5 years. And any ideas in pipeline to implement the Ocean and Climate Village in India? For now, no. This will be a really interesting. It will be really interesting to be able to bring the Ocean and Climate Village in India. For now, we don't have plans, but this could be something that we can consider, perhaps to do together in the future. And then, is there a possibility of contributing towards some ongoing project remotely? So as IOC, we mainly have, we need to work at the office, but perhaps if you have some projects where you think that we can be and participate in some way, we can discuss about them. And sometimes if you want to collaborate as a consultant, or if you need to check the, let's say, IOC page, and sometimes we run and we open position on consultancy position. So perhaps if we have something to do in Asia, we are going, or in India specifically, we are going to open a position to have support for doing that. May I ask you what you think should
Valentina, I think
Yeah.
it will be better in the end. We will have a Q&A panel.
Yeah, I think so, because there are other
Yes,
questions and we
yes,
are
yes.
running out of time. Sorry.
Yes. So
Thank you.
our next speaker is Avanti from who has recently completed her PhD from Calcutta University. And over to you, Avanti. Please take your time.
Just a minute,
Yeah,
Sunanda.
you want to introduce her.
Yeah, I
Yes,
just want to
yes.
introduce her.
Yes.
So, Avanti Acharya, a PhD in marine science with a specialization in marine biogeochemistry. Avanti has 6 years of experience in greenhouse gas studies and associated environmental data analysis and interpretation in a mangrove environment, a notable blue carbon ecosystem. Her works have been published in peer-reviewed journals in marine field. She has also been verbal about her research at various international conferences. Currently working as carbon sequestration scientist at Liquid Trace, she is involved in diatom-based carbon sequestration projects in the river system. Thank you so much, Avanti. It's over to you.
Thank you. I hope everybody can hear me. And thanks, Dibaruti, for giving such a introduction. And also Sunanda, and I also congratulate everyone for having me here for the first ever ocean literacy webinar among the researchers. Currently, I have passed into the professional sector from the researcher sector. So here I would be discussing about uh, a bit of the. Let me share my screen first. Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Hello.
Just keep it.
Yes, Avanti, it's perfect. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so my research work was mainly on greenhouse gases. So you can understand from the title that I have made it a very as simple as possible. I tried to talk about what the ocean breeds and what it shouldn't. So as we are aware, before going into the subject, it's already been discussed, it's already been introduced vividly by Debaruti, by Sunanda, and also by Valentina. But just that I'm really excited to know. I'm also becoming more ocean literate as I move ahead in my life. So the main concept, the big idea is about to talk, to feel, to be aware, to experience, and to engage in ocean literacy, not just theoretical knowledge, but also to be able to be one and be really deeply involved, as it is also an evolving concept. With our emotions, with our engagement, it will evolve accordingly. And now currently, since it's a global event, it has a lot of potential to become one of the most important subjects that school curriculums, yes, that they should incorporate. So the way I have discussed my subject here isn't as simple as at the +2 level. So you will see that in the next slides. But before that, as already Debaruti has pointed out, that these are the dimensions of ocean literacy. So it has to be knowledge, there has to be awareness, there has to be the attitude to do make a difference and to spread the ocean literacy. So, and all these aspects have to be considered together holistically to achieve the goal of making people literate about ocean. Here's my two bits of the ocean breath or ocean respiration. So I've tried to keep it as simple as possible and as concise, not jarred it with data or explanations, scientific or too much of academics, but just the overview of what ocean is, because ocean it's very critical to understand the health of our oceans. By ocean respiration, we mean that it's the oxygen that the ocean breathes in and the carbon dioxide that it also breathes in together. So this we have to assess the impact, as we do not want a lot of carbon dioxide to get into the ocean. As we know, we are aware of the acidification issues that are currently the focus of ocean research. And I'm also involved in a project which in my company which discusses and it's trying to bioremediate rivers, which is in the land ocean continuum. So there has to be effective conservation strategies so that we can monitor these oxygen levels and carbon dioxide absorptions so that we know where our ocean stands. Here, the tiniest of the plant-like organisms, phytoplanktons, they play this most significant role in this gas exchange. So, and they are the ones actually which produce the 50% of the world's oxygen. And not really it's the terrestrial plants. The forests are definitely there, but phytoplankton community are more powerful and more relevant when we are talking about producing world's oxygen that keeps us alive. So it's very crucial for us to maintain the balance of these gases in the level so that the phytoplankton productivity can carry on and it can maintain the balance of these gases even in the atmosphere land ocean boundary and also in the depths of the ocean, as their sensitivity, their abundance, their productivity reflects on the health of the ocean. So what could be the factors? So obviously it's the temperature, the water temperature. So currently we know the burning issue, which is global warming. So it's about the cause of, it's the complete concern is on the rise in temperature. So we have to be very vigilant and let people know that whatever we are doing on the land, it reflects on the temperature of the ocean as well. So it's so involved, ocean is so entwined with our own existence, that if we do not take care about our atmospheres, about our activities on land, it will take a toll on the ocean breath. Then we have the nutrients. If there's a lot of effluent nutrient, extra nutrients flowing into the rivers via the estuaries and rivers, then it will actually ultimately hamper the phytoplankton production and the biogeochemical processes that are entwined with the phytoplankton productivity. And as we know, the more carbon dioxide the ocean takes in, eventually it may disrupt the pH and its ability to resist the change in pH levels. And ultimately, that could really wreak a havoc on our ocean respirations and also the health of the ocean. So, the impact of climate change, long story short, the ocean is losing its breath. So, this is the current alarming condition that we are seeing in various research papers, that it's a growing concern of the ocean rapidly losing oxygen in certain places because of unabated uh, and the regulation in marine sector in the industry, and whatever merchant navies and everything, those need a lot of regulation. So and else the oil spills, the nutrient input, the excess air pollution, they can result even in dead zones, which we also call in scientific terms as anoxic zones. And these zones are deadly, as they will ensure that the ocean eventually becomes sterile and like almost like a desert if there are no organisms or phytoplankton to balance the gases. So it is very important for us to address such issues and take steps to preserve the vitality of our oceans. So we have to put more effort into understanding the specific effects of land pollution on the ocean. And we have to develop strategies so that we underline which are the exact factors which are causing such problems. Research is on, but then we have to just not limit ourselves to research, but we have to also eventually start to implement, which is already has begun, like the carbon dioxide removal processes. But this has to gain more and more momentum, and more young researchers and young people should come in and and get into this research so that it can eventually see the light of the day as a real testing on the oceans of how to do the carbon dioxide removal and elevate the condition of the health of the ocean, and make the ocean more breathable so that it is able to maintain its balance. So for that, we need to continuously monitor. We also have to consider what plastic, yes, the plastic pollution is also one aspect which hampers with the ocean respiration. Because yes, if we can see in many videos all over the internet that the organisms get stuck in plastic and then they lose their lives, they suffer, and this is such an excruciating scene to watch. We have to be very vigilant, and we have to keep monitoring and measure all these factors, all these issues which is plaguing the ocean, so that we can come up with better solutions and advanced technology and scientific methods so as to regulate all these issues in the ocean. So we have to finally, as my 2 cents on this matter would be definitely to reduce carbon emission, to ways to have the carbon dioxide removed. We have to prevent how much pollution is running off into the ocean. We have to take care. We have to always be vigilant. And as we have to implement sustainable fishing practices, maybe bring down the consumption of fishing. Rampant fishing, unregulated fishing needs to be strongly dealt with, so that we can have more marine protected areas and the ocean can become healthier, and this problem of losing oxygen is, it's abated. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation, and let's us pledge that we make ourselves aware of what goes into the ocean and what should not go into the ocean, so that the ocean breathes more of oxygen and can and live in the life in the ocean and take in less carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide will cause acidification of the oceans, and then it will disrupt the pH, and eventually once the all the carbon dioxide which is stored and the carbon which is stored in the ocean starts to come out and escape the atmosphere, the negative feedback that we call it, it is going to be detrimental to the health of the all the land animals and beings on earth. With that, thank you. So that is what I had to talk about, the ocean literacy on the what ocean respiration means to us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Avanti, for such a wonderful presentation. I think when I was following up and I was just seeing your presentation from that time, I was just waiting for your presentation to hear. So
Thank
I
you.
have a question, but before that, I just want to know from participants if anyone is having any question, because we have time. We can go beyond 8:30, so it's okay. Shohan, I think your question was for Valentina, right? Or it's for Avanti?
I
Okay,
see
you can.
one open question.
Yeah,
But it's just hello, ma'am.
you can check here. Sunanda, can you please check?
That
Is
is
there
for
any question for
Valentina.
Avanti?
That is for
Okay.
Valentina.
Okay,
Yes.
then I have a question. I'm just jumping to the question. That is, you already worked in Indian Sundarbans, and this, what you presented, it's already related to blue carbon research. So blue
Right.
carbon research is not very much, I mean, it's not taking very much initiatives in India. So what you think, what are the measures we should take in India to promote blue carbon research more?
The first thing would be to have to go to the Sundarbans, which is our blue carbon ecosystem, and just start small with understanding the water quality, get the sediment and bring them back to the lab and do it. We need more funds. We have to have more projects dedicated solely to the Sundarbans, because it is an UNESCO heritage site. So there has to be the momentum, a comparative of what other blue carbon ecosystems, the exposure that they're getting. We have to place a comparative first before the funding council, because research is nothing without funds. So we have to be very, very particular that this is going on in the world and this is where our Sundarbans is lagging behind. So that is how we can push forward. And more of these greenhouse gas research and more delving deep, going deeper into the analysis of the biogeochemistry of the river estuary, because these are also rivers and they are also estuaries. So an extremely dynamic system. Hence, this is how we can pitch forward by first placing the comparative.
Okay, thank you so much, and please stay till the end.
Sure.
So, yeah. So next, Anagha, over to you.
Yes, and our next speaker is Falak Shaheen. The title of our talk is Setu, Bridging the Gap. Falak Shaheen is a dedicated PhD student in marine sciences, driven by her passion for the underwater world and a deep commitment to understanding and preserving coral reef ecosystems. During her master's, she has the experience of working with Zoological Survey of India and World Wildlife Fund as a volunteer for wildlife conservation. Currently enrolled in a PhD program at CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, Falak is actively engaged in research within the realm of coral reef ecology and its biotechnological applications. Her work involves investigating the complex dynamics of coral reefs, with a particular focus on the impacts of climate change and human activity. Through her research, Falak aims to contribute to the understanding and preservation of these vital ecosystems, which play a crucial role in supporting marine biodiversity and global ecological balance. Over to you, Falak.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very new to marine field itself because my background is very different in comparison to everyone else here. And so I would be right now here, I would be representing Setu, not realizing what I actually work on during my research. And so I would like to share my presentation. It's like a small brief introduction to what we do here at CSRNIO as an ocean literacy program. So I would turn off my video for technical issues if that is not a problem. I hope that's fine. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, yes, visible.
So, as according to my introduction, thank you for that introduction. And I am a PhD scholar at CSRNI, and I have just joined recently. It has been a year. So today I represent Setu, Bridging the Gap. As you can see, it is a voluntary students organization here at CSRNI. And I will be talking about our contribution towards ocean literacy on a smaller scale. So, Setu Bridging the Gap is not just the title of my talk, it is the motto of the members we have. As we began a student body, but it was to act as a connecting link between the young researchers of NIO and mainly the administration. But then slowly it grew into a group of young minds who wanted to impart knowledge about ocean and its immense importance to the world. With their individual research work, all the researchers here at NIO are already contributing towards the scientific knowledge about ocean. But as we all know, and from our previous speakers, they have all talked about the importance of the society as a whole. So we try to bring not only the researcher community, but we bring the entire society from starting from the school levels to college students and to the stakeholders. We try to come together. So as an oceanography institute and a researcher in ocean science, CISR, NIO and the members of SETU feel that ocean literacy is a basic responsibility towards the society and towards the protection of the ocean. And if we go by the definition of ECOP, every member of SETU is an ECOP. So as you can see from my presentation, I'm sorry, are the slides changing?
They're changing now.
Just a minute, I think this is like information from my side. So this is a Setu timeline. You can see there are a lot of cultural activities, but we try to include a lot of several programs, and we have been working with several different organizations and initiated activities like beach cleanups. During the International Coastal Cleanup Day recently, Setu has initiated a cleanup drive along with the Indian Coast Guard, NCCR, OCI, and like Ocean Society of India. And on several other occasions, we have conducted similar beach cleanups. Also, we have been conducting several programs for the school students, young minds, and have been always active. CSR NIO has been always active for conducting open days for schools and colleges. So with the students from several schools from Goa and also from the neighboring states to come up and pay visit to our laboratories and are given a live demo of the research activities which have been going on in our institute, so that they can start early in their career with related to ocean education. Recently, with the help of Royal Society of Chemistry and Jigyasa, a 3-day workshop camp was also conducted in NIO for the 8th and 9th standard students of government school, where they had hands-on training on several interesting chemistry experiments and were given on the talks about the beaches of Goa, its wildlife, and and the expeditions to Antarctic Sea. So the scientists and the students here in CISR NIO work together for imparting the knowledge to these young researchers and also for the seniors. And the timeline of Setu can show that we have conducted several other activities. Even before we thought of becoming a part of ECOP and ocean literacy, this was taken up as a basic uh, responsibility of ours to impart this knowledge. These students living, and the benefit we have here is that we live in Goa. So we have an easy access of the oceans, beaches. So we can actually take up the students to the coastal areas, even though they have seen the beaches since their childhood. But these students are very unaware of its life and the importance our activities have on these beaches, and how these our activities in turn come back and affect us if we are not well aware of all the situations going on. So it's very important that we start young, and also we try to incorporate a lot of vernacular language into our education while we are helping out these young scientists. So one of the major important activity that was recently held in CSR NIO was the Hindi Week, or Hindi Ma. The entire month we had, it was a Hindi Ma. Earlier we used to have it for a week, but the entire week we held activities which were conducted in Hindi, so that it can impart our ocean sciences knowledge to people in vernacular language, and there is no language barrier between us. We also try to incorporate Konkani, Marathi, and several other languages which are the basic spoken languages in India. So but not only ocean related activities, to make it more interesting, we try to bring up several other topics which are a little away. We had an astrophysics talk also. So we try to bring a lot of several activities, but and the major contribution that we're trying to bring up is Setu has launched its own magazine, and it's so this magazine is made wholly completely by our researchers and our scientists and their contribution. So it is you can say a completely ocean related magazine. It is a very interactive magazine, and people can look into what all interesting activities are going on, and with beautiful pictures and photographies, with paintings taken up by our own researcher. So I think activities like this, small, maybe it seems like, but then can interact a lot of people. They can get excited about oceans, and once they see this, so they come to know like there are so many things which can be done. And ocean literacy, we can it sounds a very difficult term when we say, because then it becomes more educational, but can be made interesting and interactive, especially if people who are not so aware about ocean literature and want to join us. And one of the most successful thing that I would, since I'm praising Setu basically and our own achievements here, but we concluded a very successful 3-day conference here itself at NIO. It was a great meeting, and researchers, I would guess more than 200 researchers from all over India came over, and we had a great meeting with a lot of interesting topics they have been working on, and it was a great meet. I would say first National Oceanography Scholars Meet. So these are some of the works we have been trying to do, mainly because we think it's a responsibility towards ocean literacy, and it's a good thing to start with early. So I hope being a part of ECOP, we can once we try because to take this on a higher level, and we can, since we are right now doing all our activities here in Goa, we would definitely like to contribute more towards ocean, its protection. So that's all I would like to share, and the activities that we have been doing here. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Falak, for that wonderful presentation, because this is a very important thing, that already ocean literacy activities are going on in India, even in a small scale. That's very important and very nice to hear, actually. So I have one question. First thing is, we would love to see the magazine of Setu. Please do share the link in the chat box so that the participant can also share. Take your time, but you can definitely share it. Second thing is, what is that global battery experiment that you were talking about? Is it about removal of the electronic waste, or what
Actually, it is about like for school students, the global battery experiment was started as a part, like we have schools coming over for open days. So we tried to show them how batteries with like simple, I would say like simple conducting solutions, and we tried to make a battery of its own, and we used LEDs and lights to show them that how basically you can just make a battery and run it. So it is more of like a chemistry experiment and how the solutions work. It was like an activity for school children.
But that's very interesting, because the school children getting involved in such things are it's very interesting. And second thing is would Samudra Manthan. That's a very, I think I missed to be present there, but will it happen every year? Because that will be a very nice event for the oceanographers to come together. We of course have OCCON happening as a biennial conference, but if there is something for research scholars meeting, then that would be great, because by next year we will definitely have more about ocean literacy activities to be discussed. So if possible, please do initiate that.
Yes, I think that is one of our plans. So that's how we wanted to begin with. But since I and my friends, the entire team of Setu, along with several other volunteers, we were the organizing committee. So we realized how difficult and hardworking it is to organize such a program on such a scale. So we definitely would love to have this a second time. Hopefully, we were also trying to take a lot of responses from the participants who are coming about both positive and negative. So it would be better, and I would suggest that is what our plan is initially, and hopefully we'll try to. And actually, we are planning to make it on the Oceans Day, 8th of June every year. So that would also be like kind of a remark for us, like an Oceanography Institute having a program on Oceans Day, big program. So hopefully we'll have it every year.
Definitely, and next time we are all attending.
Yes,
and
sure,
I
please.
Assure
It's
that
an invitation from
every
me here
participant
itself.
will agree, and I hope that whoever is present here, we will definitely attend Samudra Manthan next year at NIO. Over to you, Devarati, to introduce the next speaker.
Thank you, Sunanda. So moving to our next speaker, Dr. Femi Anna Thomas. Dr. Femi Anna Thomas is a successful early career researcher who is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Zoology, Union Christian College, Aluva, Kerala. She did her PhD work on bacterial diversity and its interaction with metals in glacial-marine environment of Arctic, under the guidance of late Dr. K.P. Krishnan at the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Goa. Her research highlights the importance of studying the different Arctic hotspots to explore the unknown microbiota, and also demonstrated how Arctic bacteria tolerate metals of ecological significance and their genomic mechanisms for tolerance. She has participated in 2 Indian Arctic expeditions in the years 2017 and 2018 and has been trained for field sampling. She did her master's in marine biology from KUSAT, Kerala in 2013 to 15 and was the first rank holder in MSc Marine Biology. She also worked as a project scientist at National Institute of Ocean Technology, Chennai in 2022. She has numerous publications in peer-reviewed international journals and has also characterized a novel bacterial species from the Arctic. She is a hardcore thalassophile who is actively engaged in science outreach activities. Yes, Dr. Femi, over to you.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, first of all, my apologies, because I think you will have to connect my video because I'm traveling. So anyway, I was able to listen to all the presentations. They were all really wonderful presentations. And thank you so much for the Ocean Literacy team and ECOP coordinators for giving me this opportunity. So for the last, I think, half an hour, we have been hearing about the ocean, different problems, and different presentations on all different aspects. So now I would want to take you to the polar ocean. So that is going to be my topic. So can you share the screen?
Yes.
And I'm going to I'm going to turn off the video so that I think it would be better.
Now it is visible?
Yes, yes. Is it full screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So my presentation topic is Microbial Marvels at the North Pole, a case study from Svalbard Arctic. I think you can change the slide. So thank you so much, Debrati, for the wonderful introduction. So anyway, I'll just give a brief. I'm basically a zoologist and a marine biologist, and I did my PhD from National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Goa. So my PhD was all about bacteria and the bacterial metal interactions in Arctic. So can you please change the slide? Yeah. So I would want to give a brief intro about my different activities. So for the last few years, I have been part of different associations. So ECOP is one among them. In 2021, I started getting associated with ECOP when Sunanda actually asked me to be, to share a video about my research activities for the UN Ocean Decade. So since then, I have been actively involved in ECOP, and I'm also part of Association of Polar Early Career Scientists. So I think a few of you might be aware about APEX. APEX is an international organization for undergraduate and graduate students, also for research students, postdoctoral researchers, and early career faculty members. So basically, APEX goals include creating opportunities for the development of innovative international and interdisciplinary collaboration. So also, they try to create a network of the polar researchers across different disciplines and national boundaries. And there is also opportunity for career development as well as they promote education and outreach activities. And they have different clear project groups in APEX, which include some of the different project groups which are very interesting are Alpine Cryosphere. Then there is an arts group, there's a podcast group. Then there are also project groups which deals with the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also about Earth observation database and mental health research. Different project groups which are functional throughout the year, and they also have different international day celebrations, polar week celebrations, and also they participate in the different conferences such as the UN climate change conference, etc. And now moving on to the next association which I am part of is the Association of Fisheries Graduates. So this Association of Fisheries Graduates basically is a fisheries fraternity fortifying community in Kerala. And the main aim of AFG is to promote the fisheries graduates from Kerala to participate in different, career opportunities. They give training for making the students, the graduate students from the fisheries, different fisheries schools to, participate in different examinations. Say, for example, they give coaching for the PSC exam, where the teachers they're not having they're not paying some teachers to teach them. Instead, the scientists and the people who are in the different fields in doing PhD in ocean sciences, they are the ones who are taking classes for the graduate students. So in that way, they are able to clear many of the national examinations dealing with all the fisheries activities. And also they also conduct different seminars and conferences over the year, and then they do some activities for the school and college students, etc. And last, I want to just show about the club which I am currently involved, because right now I'm an assistant professor in Union Christian College, Alva. So this is a club that is Kandal Club, which is Kandal in Malayalam. It is actually the mangrove. So it's a mangrove club which we can you just move back? So this mangrove club, I just wanted to show the mangrove club because this is an initiative we started recently this year in our college campus, where we actually try to teach students about the ecosystem restoration and the importance of mangroves, and try to bring all the students helping collecting the mangrove seedlings. And we are planning to have like a 10,000 mangrove seedling collection, and we are planning to plant these seedlings in the coastal area along with the community activity. So this is one of the very interesting club that we have started recently. So now, could you please change the slide? Yeah. So now let us move to a journey to the Arctic along with bacteria. Can you please change the slide? So I just want to show a quick video on Arctic, which I have been working on. So I call this as the pristine Arctic. So yeah. Thank you so much. So this is what I call as the pristine Arctic. So as you have seen, it's pristine Arctic. So why study Arctic? So that's the next question that comes to our mind. So Arctic is warming at alarming rate. So as we know, we talk about climate warming, and these polar regions are the regions which get affected by the climate warming uh, the highest. And over the last few decades, Arctic is warming over 3 times higher than the global average warming rate. And there has been reports which says that the Arctic sea ice is declining, but by about 13% per decade. So if it is going at this rate, what happens is that after about 2030s or 2050s, Arctic would be completely sea ice, having sea ice free summers. So which is very alarming. And this can have implications on, global climate systems. And can you please change the slide? Yeah, so this can have impact on the global climate system. And as you can see, next. Hello. Yeah. So when there is a sea ice loss, what happens is that it can lead to increased permafrost. So permafrost is something called as the frozen soil. So it actually melts, and what happens is that it releases a lot of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. So these are, as we know that these are the greenhouse gases. And also when there is an increase in the sea ice loss, it can lead to increased human activities in the Arctic. So there would be more shipping, more oil production, more mineral extraction. All these can have impact on the polar region. So basically Arctic, it is a living laboratory to understand the mechanisms of evolution as well as adaptation to some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Next slide, please. So another main stress or main problem that these polar regions face is because of this long range transport of pollutants into these polar regions. So basically through the oceanic and atmospheric circulation, these pollutants basically could impact the ecosystem dynamics, and also it can have implications such as biomagnifications, bioaccumulation. So it is important to study these polar regions. So next slide, please. Yeah. So the region which I am concentrating is known as Svalbard Arctic, which is a Norwegian part of the Arctic. And this region is highly sensitive to climate change implications. And basically, this is a region where there are a lot of glaciers, and there are also different ecosystems such as fjords, which are kind of our estuary sort of system, where the glaciers open up into the open ocean system. And the Svalbard region, so as you can see towards your right side, there is a map, and on the map, you can see a small rectangular box, which is the place called as Nielsen. Earlier in the 1950s, this Nielsen was supposed to be a coal mining town. And later on, what happened was due to some coal mining accidents, this town was completely closed up. And later, the Norwegian government has converted this area into a research base. And currently, there are about 11 countries having about 18 research institutes which are functional in this Nielsen region. So this is a region which has been studied heavily by different researchers over across different disciplines to understand the climate change implications in Arctic. Next slide, please. So what is the Indian role in Arctic? Basically, the institute which I was associated with, that is National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. It is under the Ministry of Earth Sciences located in Goa. And this is maintaining the Indian research base in Arctic. So we have a research base called as Himadri, which is located in the Nielsen Arctic. And this was inaugurated on the 1st July of 2018 by the Ministry of Earth Sciences, India. Next slide. So now let us see, what does the bacteria has to do in Arctic? So Arctic, we know that there is not much of diversity. There are no trees, and there are few bigger organisms, big predators like the polar bears, etc. But in total, when we compare it with the tropical oceans or tropical regions, the diversity is very less. So the majority of the organisms you can find, it's mainly dominated by the microbial community. And especially there are a lot of different bacteria which we can find in Arctic. So these bacteria are very important because they can do a lot of things. So they do nutrient cycling. They can transform the different environmental contaminants. That means they are capable of doing bioremediation. Some of them produce cold active enzymes and antifreeze proteins to withstand the cold conditions which are prevalent in Arctic. And some of them, they can also withstand cold heavy UV radiations, pH fluctuations, low nutrient conditions, etc. So they do a lot of great activities in Arctic. Next slide, please. So basically, when I started my research, my questions involved what are the different microorganisms, especially bacteria, who are all present there, and why they are present in that particular ecosystem, and what functions basically they perform in the environment, and how they interact with each other, and also with other microorganisms and other bigger organisms, and how do they interact with the environment? Do they contribute something to the environment? And how are they getting affected by the climate warming signals? Are they having some impact because of the climate warming signals? Next slide, please. So basically for my study, this is just like a little scientific. So basically for my studies, what I do is that I collect different samples. I collect the water samples, ocean samples, seawater samples, then glacier ice, glacier snow, etc. And these samples, first I do the environmental parameters analysis. I measure all the different environmental parameters such as total organic carbon, pH, salinity, dissolved oxygen, etc. And also to study the bacteria, we basically try to grow them in the lab conditions. So by growing means we try to use different media, give different food to the bacteria and grow them in the lab conditions. And now with the advancement in the technology, what we can do is that if we directly take out the DNA from the samples that we have, we can actually try understand the total bacterial community. So there are some advanced techniques known as the next generation sequencing, where we study the whole genome or some marker regions of the bacterial DNA to understand the total bacterial diversity. Then we try to predict the functions, and also we try to do certain metabolic activities to understand what are the functional profiles of these organisms, and also try to understand if given different stresses, how they respond. Next slide, please. So these are some of the images during the sampling in Arctic. So as you can see towards the right, we have done the sampling in open ocean and as well as the fjord regions, and also sampled near the glaciers to collect the water as well as the ice samples. Next slide, please. So from the study, just a little bit of information. So these, from my research, I was able to find that these Arctic, they are potential sites for novel discovery. So basically, there are a lot of hidden microbes which no one has studied before. So we were able to get a novel bacteria from Arctic, which we named as Phenylobacterium glaciae, which is able to tolerate different metals, and they had like a lot of different genes to tolerate the metals, antibiotics, etc. in Arctic. So that was like a discovery which happened, which was not part of my research work, but we understood that Arctic, some of the ecosystems have the potential for the discovery of many of the novel organisms. Next slide, please. Also, the microbes there, especially the bacteria there, they have the capacity, although there are like low nutrient conditions, and we say that it is not as polluted as the tropical regions, but still these bacteria, they hold immense potential. They have different genes to tolerate some of the toxic metals like mercury, lead, cadmium, etc. And also they have certain efflux pump mechanisms which will help to throw out the antibiotics and other pollutants from their cells. So this is kind of a very interesting thing that we have observed in my study. So moving to the next slide. Yeah, so basically this is all about Arctic, my research work, etc. And I tried to get more involved with ECOP, and now I'm trying to teach my, so now I would want to, be part of all these extension activities where I want to showcase, how these studies on the Arctic region is very important and how it contributes to the global climate. So basically what I want to say is that what happens in Arctic doesn't remain in Arctic. So we get all the implications. Arctic region, they have the teleconnections with the tropics. So even the climate change that we face here, it has a relation with the Arctic warming scenario. This is what I have to, present. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If there is any question.
Thank you, Femi, for giving such a wonderful presentation on Arctic microbiology, because that is a very very different topic for us as physical oceanographers, because we generally look into the global Indian Ocean alone. So this Arctic and Antarctic research is very exciting for us. So I just have a quick question. So as you are working as an assistant professor right now in UC College, will it be possible to have an ocean literacy workshop in your college for the college students, just like how we had now? Because as I understand that Falak is already like involved in an ocean literacy activity, so it is easier for us to collaborate with them. But we would like to definitely love to collaborate with the college students and start the basic activity of ocean literacy. So if it is possible, please do arrange a webinar, online webinar, or however it is feasible for you.
I think that would be really interesting because, as I've told you, we have started a club, the Mangrove Club, and what I understood is that all the students were like quite interested to go to collect the samples to, for the beach cleanup and all these things. They are like quite interested in all these things to know more about polar regions, about oceans. They're very interested. So I think during OSICON time, I had told you if it is possible, we can have some interesting talks from different ECOPs. So I think I would love to organize something like that. So if it is possible for all of you to contribute a little bit, I think it would be really interesting. I can pitch in and I can have a, an online webinar sort of.
Definitely, it's a thumbs up from our
And there are a
side.
lot of, creative.
It's a thumbs
Yes,
up
yes,
from
yes.
our side because we are always there. Okay, so we just need a platform. We are always there. So on
Yes.
that note, I would like to thank Femi, and over to you, Anagha, for introducing Dr. Paul.
Yes. Dr. Saurabh Paul is an Estuarine ecologist and an IOC UNESCO UN Ocean Decade endorsed scientist. He leads the UN Decade project. He is the co-founder and director of Estuarine and Coastal Studies Foundation. Dr. Paul earned his PhD from University of Otago, New Zealand, and successive postdocs from Nelson Mandela University, South Africa, and University of the Republic of Uruguay. He worked as a DST Inspire faculty at the University of Calcutta and SARB research scientist at the Jawadhpur University. He has published several research papers on estuarine and plankton in journals of national and international repute. The title of the talk is Role of ECOPs in Institution Building in India. Over to Dr. Saurabh Paul.
Sorry, mute. Sir, please mute.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for hosting this talk and India ECOP Meet. I must say this is a big journey. It's a big journey for all the ECOPs, even to conduct an event. So congratulations on that side. You have traveled quite a lot already. So I was patiently hearing some of the views and some of the technical talks. I do not share any presentation because all of it came across many of the duties, but I would like to share some of my perspectives of how to do an building of institution. Because if you think of my experience in working in India, I'm also an ECOP. I'm working in India only from 2016. So I had to start with understanding the system. That was the phase one. The second thing was start to networking. That is phase two. Thirdly, how to make the network go for myself. That was phase three. And finally, with the networks and with the help, with my own expertise, with a lot of well wishes, how we can put up an institution which again will facilitate ECOPs to express themselves. So if you can connect these dots for your life, I think these are ECOP dots. Like you have somewhere started, you are journeying, you are meeting people, you are realizing your limitations and you are realizing your potentials, and you are trying to target to some extent some new bars or to set something new, right? So that's itself is quite a challenging journey, but never get intimidated. However modest your beginning are, however peer pressure that you may feel, but it is very important that you have a self belief in you that you can do it, and you have to have quite a bit of passion with it. The other thing that I would like to add on is that when I see that even ocean decade of sustainable science, right? We basically means people who are from physics, chemistry, biology, computer science, and so on. We generally leave a lot of the social sciences. The other day, I met a guy, he's a fine artist who actually does painting on vulnerability issues of Indian Sundarbans, on making structures of, I would say, the houses which can float in drastic conditions. So he's also an ECOP. Somebody who is starting a business on marine issue or in coastal issue or an estuarine issue is also an ECOP. However, I see there is a challenge. The ECOPs do not know that they are ECOPs. So this is something that we who are ECOPs, we have the responsibility to let them also feel a part of this journey. It doesn't mean that one has to read oceanography or marine science or marine biology or any coastal science or something like that, or coastal engineering to be an ECOP. So the definition of an ECOP is very large, and whatever community we have, we each have the responsibility to spread the message of ECOP, and we have to make them understand who are beyond this umbrella right now. They are not feeling associated, that you guys are also an ECOP. Once you have a sizable community, the peer pressure or the very first talk that we were talking about, that sometimes we have to come under a supervision, yes, which is required. In my case also, in my early days, it was required, but there was always some sort of independence, and independence is required when you think of building something. I was just listening to Dr. Femi talking about the Mangrove Club, right? The Mangrove Club is also an institution. Likewise, we have built the Estuarine Coastal Studies Foundation, which is also a research and higher education organization. But you can make an eco club. When you fly the flyer of UN Ocean Decade, most of us do not actually recognize what it is because it's not in our book. But the moment we say Rio Summit, we all recognize it. Even the physics wala recognize it, because we have read it in our book in class 9 or class 10 or something like that. There was a biodiversity summit happened in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 and blah 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 and so on. So the movement was so great. That's why this actually percolated to the mainstream academia, mainstream of the society through the school books. So the ECOPs has itself, they have the responsibility to spread the message. I know you may be feeling peer pressure, like how I do it, but can you not do it to your own friend? Well, look, do you know that there is an UN Ocean Decade going on? You can apply for a few scholarships. That you can always, that conversation you can always have with your friend. With the friends, can you not have a conversation? Let's start a marine club where we show some pictures, or we show some slides, we interchange some of the ideas or something like that. So our ideas of institution is always conventional, like it has to have a very big building, it has to have a very big infrastructure. But we have to be flexible. We are ECOPs, we are trying our level best, so we can start playing our games to the level that we fit on, right? And when we start doing that, people start noticing you. When people start noticing you, they start slowly believing you. This is exactly what happened with me, that today we have a organization called Estuarian Coastal Studies Foundation, which is a 2-year-old organization. But when I started the idea, it was in 2018, and I had traveled, except Goa and Gujarat, I have traveled throughout the Indian coast. I have talked to many scientists and given lectures to many of the coastal organizations, universities, some of the organizations you have mentioned. That's how I built networking, and people were noticing. Definitely, people were noticing. Like, I was trying to understand what India lacks. So it is very important that as a community or as an individual of ECOP, you understand or you have a good grasp of the uniqueness. So when I was traveling throughout in Indian coast, I was seeing that there was one thing very much lacking. Although there are work going on in India on different estuaries, but India do not have a single lab which start with estuarine word. Forget about the organization. Although there were many scientists who are actually practicing estuarine science on various domains, but they were like more like a marine scientist practicing in estuaries, or zoologists practicing in estuaries, or the physicists practicing in estuaries. So I had to find this exact gap. What is required for our country, what is required for our fraternity, and that's how we go on. And this was the first step. And at that time, I was definitely an ECOP by any sort of definition, and I was a 2-year arrival in India. So some of the PhD students were more experienced than me in terms of how to work through the networking in India. But sometimes I do find that our ECOPs are shy. They are not expressive too much. They are isolated. They do not have the confidence sometimes to rise against the peer pressure. So that actually do not help them also, not the ECOP community. So it is very important that, yes, you take the supervision, but also maintain some sort of individuality that you all have, and try to express within the limited scope or limited space that you have in every institutions that you are based in. Because if you think of your institutions, whether it's a university, whether it's a institute, whether it's an NGO, it is actually fueled, may not be led by young people, but it is actually fueled by young people. Most of the researchers in all over the world are actually ECOPs. So there is always a sense of belongingness. There is always a sense of doing something, delivering something for your institution, for your country, for your fraternity. I would like to say that in India, there are different challenges that I understand. And while Devaruti and the previous Sunanda were, Sunanda, you were also doing the ECOP work, right? And it was very correctly noted. I think I have seen the report, the first report, where you have mentioned that the ECOPs of India are a bit isolated. So that's a true finding. When Devaruti was also interacting to collect the surveys, that I think she was also struggling to reach the 100 mark. Why is a country like India, which have a 1.5 billion people and at least a sizable marine community, with a lot of students, lot of entrepreneurs, lot of researchers, PhDs, postdoc, only 100 or 150 entries? What harm it can make if you do enter your name into it? Nothing, right? Maybe at the end of the day, you get this email list and you discover a friend from Gujarat and you need to collect your own sample from your PhD, and you are basically calling him, hey, can you give me one night shelter at your home so I can have a less expensive field work. That's exactly how I survived in abroad. That's how the ECOPs in developed countries actually work. Collaborating, networking, talking to each other. You do not need to share the nitty-gritties of your research with your friend, but you can always have a common language that you can speak of, right? So that is something very essential for ECOPs to do. ECOPs can definitely are not powerless. They are the majority, and they can make their own community to make institutions. I used to work as a DST Inspire faculty, which is targeted to catch the young people. And every time there was a meeting, there was a review meeting, there was a gathering, I was never shy, and our voices were heard from the government, from the very top level of the Prime Minister's science advisor. So it's very important that you express yourself, express your thoughts, try to do it in a very constructive manner, make a network, and also go for institutional building. Now you may think, okay, I am a master's student, or I'm a BSc student, or I'm a BSc pass out, or a master's pass out, or a half track PhD now, or an early career postdoc. My role is to secure a job or secure some earning, right? I don't see any conflict in it. Definitely you have a job to get, you have a earning to earn for your own sustenance, for sustenance of your work, for sustenance of your family. But at the same time, if you have this belonging that, okay, I will deliver beyond myself, so then you have to build something. Building a lab itself is a institutional building. Building a eco club is an institutional building. Building some NGOs, building some startups, building some even acting for a role of a newsletter. Because many times I have noticed that the ECOPs are not well informed. OSICON is one of the biggest events of India, but you can have a I would say survey that how many ECOPs actually identify OSICON is a proper channel of expressing their research. Maybe somebody is actually working on ocean physics. Unless that person is related to some institutions of ocean, that person will never go to Osaikan. So this is lack of information, lack of understanding, some sort of misconnectivity or less connectivity that the Indian ECOPs have to overcome. I don't need to belong to an oceanographic department to attend this seminar or the webinar. I do not belong to actually any personally on a personal scale. I never had an oceanographic degree. I'm from zoology. I'm from environmental management. But this sense of belonging, that this ocean science is for all. What is not there in the ocean? The physics is there in the ocean. The chemistry is there in the ocean. The economics is there in the ocean. The history is there in the ocean. But will a history graduate of India will identify himself or herself as an ECOP? Even that person is actually working on some history of a coastal region. So I would definitely urge all of you with the brief talk of mine that you guys have already gelled together. You expand as a community, make others also aware that you are an ECOP. You are working in different institutions. You can, as a community, approach to the institution that can we spread this message of ECOP? This is the UN Ocean Decade that is going on. And finally, I would like to close my talk with a small experience of mine that in 2020 February, yes, certainly I was an ECOP by any definition at that time. After gathering all these experiences, I fearlessly wrote an email. I went to Osaikan. I didn't, in Osaikan, I just get to overhear that the UN decade is coming in India. Just think of the consequences. Immediately, I get to hear like what it is actually going on. I had no idea. I literally had no idea at that time. I went only to Osaikan and I overheard this discussion that in that UN decade meeting would be coming in India in NIOT in February 2020. And as an ECOP, as an Inspire faculty, I directly wrote an email to the then director of the NIOT, Atmanand sir. Many of you may know him or may not know him. Or Ramanamurthy sir was there also. So, and they cordially, and I came back to University of Calcutta. Few days later, I have actually got the letter of invitation from the UN Ocean to join UN Ocean Decade Conference. So, and I was the only youngest member who was representing India. Because there was an India team, there was team from almost 60 Asian nations. And India has a small team. And I was like the junior most part of that team. So I had to do a lot of running around and like planning what could be the role of young people and so on and so forth. What could be the policy that we can put forward to integrate all sorts of the stakeholders and stuff. And by that way, I was directly interacting also with the IOC UNESCO team. And one of these IOC UNESCO member, Justine, he's based in Paris, an IOC office. He one day like called me up and he say, okay, you are not like Indian ECOPs, you are not shy. I said, what does that actually mean? He said like, I have interacted with many ECOPs, sometime abroad also, the Indian people who goes abroad to do their study. They're also ECOPs, our ECOPs. They're Indian ECOPs too. So I find them shy, but I think it's good that you are expressing yourself here in this meeting. I could notice you, and I'm telling you that the decade is coming. Decade will give this opportunity, will open up the calls. Can you apply for, if you have a good idea, Saurabh, you can apply for calls that the decade will give, and see what will happen, and you will change, you will be changing in this decade, and also you can be a part of the change, and you can make a change. So I think 1 year later, the call came out, along with many scientists across India, around the world. I did apply for a project. I think I get to hear after almost a year that project being endorsed by the UNESCO. That helped me again a lot to grow the institution, to make myself feel, and to go to many others to get the help necessary. So this is very much important that you express yourself, you connect with others, you get to know what is happening, go to the conferences, make a community, make a platform, and make a difference for all of us, all the ECOPs. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul, for that motivating talk, I would say, because as an Indian research scholar, I totally could relate to many things that you were saying. And basically, I think that the independences among the research scholars are there, but the problem with the Indian research scholars is the subordination from the higher authorities, because we basically have a lot of inhibitions from our own guides. And it's very difficult also to talk in a public platform like this about that particular problem. But yes, I totally understand that we need to be independent, we need to be motivating others. And yes, about the network that you told, that is really a very important aspect of this, because having a network among the research scholars is important, even in like, as you said, if we go to some place, if we want a place to stay, that itself is a very very important aspect of the network, that you will have a lot of friends who are not whom you are not virtually, whom you're virtually connected, which actually happened during OZCon, because I was a technical committee member. I was fortunate enough to be a technical committee member in OZCon, and I could initiate this idea of having an early career ocean professional talk in each of the sub teams, and that was itself very challenging. Why? Because in India, having an invited talk by early career scientists is something that is not happening. It's not it's not something that has ever happened. But that also, they were not given enough of recognition. Most of the sessions, they were not announced also, and it was a very tough time for them. But at least in the end, we could make it happen, that we could call them to the stage and give them a memento. So, but still, that is a long way to go. And I also want to ask you.
It will happen.
Yes. I also want to ask you this one
changing.
particular thing, that are you referring to the NIOT seminar that happened in January 2020?
Yes.
The regional. Yes, I was also invited for that particular seminar, and as an ECOP only, because I was there in a video by Youth for Ocean Decade. So I was the only person from India in that video. So
Yeah.
I was also invited for that. But yes, I think Justin was mentioning about the shy research scholar about me, because I basically, it was more about a lot of scientists were there, and I was the only, probably the youngest one.
Also. I was posing a lot of questions.
Yes. I don't remember seeing you, but but definitely I feel that if I had seen you then and there, then a lot of things could have changed by then, because I struggled a lot to like establish a network in India. So with the help of Deparati and this particular team, I think this will be a dream come true. And this Indian ECOP meeting is definitely a start for that particular network that we have been dreaming for quite a long time. Thank you so much. Yes.
And thank you, Devarati and Sunanda and Avanti, Falak, Femi, whoever many of you I personally know of, many of you I'm seeing for the very first time. Keep the flame going. I think you guys are the future. So I think you will bargain with what you need. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Can I have a word?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Dr. Saurav, it was a very interesting talk which you had given us. It was really inspiring. So, one point which I really liked was the way you were talking about the social science people. So, this aspect even I felt only when, I started this club in the college. That's the Mangrove Club. And we were going to collect I just want to bring this small incident. We were going to collect this mangrove seedlings from different areas. Then we were interacting with the local community people, and few of the localites, we could find that their houses are getting, due to the tidal flooding, they are having a lot of hard time. So then we try to understand, we are only looking into the science, but then there is a community associated with it who are facing a lot of problems, and with the tidal flooding, and then some of them are depending upon these aquaculture, meaning the farming and all those things. So it was really interesting to get to know their perspective, and even the students could learn a lot of things from them. So it would be nice if we can have a session where we can have a community interaction, probably online or offline, something like that. So where we get to know about the indigenous knowledge, about the problems that the communities face, who are in the coastal areas and all that. So this was something I want to appreciate when Dr. Saurav was mentioning about, including social science and history and all that in the into the ECOP. I think that would be really nice if we have a platform where we get to have some, indigenous community people or some coastal community people where they talk about their issues and problems, something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think here there is a lot of role of NGOs, and the ECOPs can well connect with NGOs of national and international reputes, because NGOs in India are generally the organization which work at the implementation level, and they are more connected directly to the community rather the education institutions. So as an ECOP community, you can always approach different NGO and can be one teacher one day for one NGO to let the message of ocean literacy. You can ask one NGO maybe for one day, okay, guys, we are from the UNESCO ECOP team of India. Can we, you have your extended shareholders or your stakeholders, can you make them together one day for an online session or something like that, or a physical session, whichever is possible, so that I have something to talk about ocean literacy, and I have something to talk about that some of them are also ECOPs. So that's would be very much possible, and I don't see any supervision problem or peer pressure in this sort of issues which are going beyond the organization. No, I don't see that.
If that's all, then I would like to invite Keshav Das, who's a participant who was keen to say a few words about this particular meeting. Over to you. Please unmute yourself and speak to us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Of course. Yes, sir.
Anyway, I don't know whether to say good night or good evening, but I really appreciate all your efforts, and I am really delighted. I'm an old man. Some years back, I worked in an institution called National Institute of Oceanography. I'm seeing one person, Ms. Falak Shaheen. She said she was from NA. I'm very happy to hear you, Shaheen. Why? Because I spent a lot of time for these things in my career. That's why you are telling that students are coming to institute and all that. I started at that time. So interacting with students, we used to have students in the seminar hall who were, there used to be hundreds of, more than 5,000 students used to come to NAU, in a year, annual basis. So it was very nice to interact with the students and a lot of activities for popularization and creating awareness. And I have gone to so many schools and colleges and all that, but it is very essential, which now I am not doing. Once in a while, I do go here and there, that's all. But I really want to ask you that ECOP is okay, but I don't know the strength of ECOP now. Is it an organization or is it institutionalized? That I do not know. But Dr. Saurav, he told whatever I wanted to say, I think 90% of things he said. So networking is important. So what you must do now, I mean, I am not taking much time. There are OSI, Ocean Society of India is there. Mangrove Society of India is there. There used to be another association called Limnological. Now that is not functioning these days. It's okay. Plus, first you do that, be in touch. Now Sahin is there in NIO. So you find even one person and create a unit. Even one person is enough to start with. So she is telling, Shaheen is telling that they have something called Sedu named. All these things are there in so many organizations, mainly universities. You have to do something in the universities because there your early career starting from there, isn't it? So you start.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We would like to see you actually. Please, if you can turn your camera, it would be great because we would love to see you, see your face.
Camera, where it is, I don't know. This one? No.
Sir, just near the mic button, there is a video, a stop video, and turn on the video. If you can click
Only
that.
chat is being shown. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Then it's fine, sir. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not seeing
Okay,
you.
sir. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Yes.
Does not matter. Does not matter. An old man. No, you said you have a newsletter. Okay. Now, please start with that. The newsletter, either in e-copy or printed copy, whatever it form, giving your activities, your objectives, all these things, explain it in that. Send to all the organizations wherever it is possible. Let us start with that. Now you have already advanced. If I see that you have already advanced to some good extent. So, and get a network. That is very, very essential. Now you need funding. I understand that. You need an organizational setup. That I understand. But let that come later. Slowly it may come perhaps. But then that's why I said associate first with OSI and Mangrove Society of India and all that, because they can help you. And I don't want you to lose your identity. You remain as a ECOP. I'm not telling that. Okay, don't join anybody at this moment because you are all youngsters. There's one group I am saying that they are all youngsters. So you are the future. Now I find I am very happy to see that there is a future for ocean science in India. I am very, very, very happy to see that. So this is all encouraging. Since you, at least some of you come out and then conducted this seminar, I don't know what to tell. A very wonderful thing that happened. So start with that. Try to network with all that as possible, as far as possible. Okay. Then there is a Ministry of Earth Science. You already know that, isn't it? They are the funding agencies for every damn thing in this country, except NIO. NIO is under CSIR. Okay. But MOES has to take the action. So you specify or elaborate your objectives and that one newsletter you take out very nicely and send it to everybody to show. Even I didn't know about this. I'm telling that. So I do not know, many of the scientists in NIO also do not know, perhaps I don't know. So all the research, so many research organizations know, under MOES or CSIR or universities or other organizations. Try to contact them, try to get one person at least, and that will be your unit. Okay, start with that. Let us see what will happen. Okay, I will be happy to associate with you for anything, anytime, but I am old. But this one, at least you start that, and you need a collaboration with all the people. Okay, your job is what? To create, spread ocean literacy, isn't it? That is the main objective of that, ocean literacy. Okay, very fine. Ocean literacy means what? From the literature you can learn, but the new research outputs also are coming up. So that you are all research people, no? So Ocean Society of India, I suggested that there would be a seminar every week by the research students from different organizations. At least one seminar every day. But it is not happening every month. So you slowly associate that and keep your identity as that. And this newsletter, you send it so that let the people be aware of such an ECOP. I have many few people, that's including me. I heard about it earlier once, but I didn't know about that only because I attended this. Now I came to know about that. So you make people aware of that. And Cochin University has got some other organizations, fisheries graduates, they also have. So unite, and our purpose is, but then your thesis work, your research work, your responsibilities, these all things are to go on. This needs little time. So find a little time for doing this. Slowly start with that. When tomorrow you will not be there, some other person has to come in, isn't it? It is not that every, throughout the hour they will be there, sign will be there. No. So we need more people. Slowly make it an organizational network, or you convert the network into an organization, whatever it is. But let us start with that. You please do that. And collaboration is in between seminars, webinars. Online is good enough. And quiz programs for the students. Concentrate, you are all talking about concentrating in the school syllabus. School syllabus is okay, but you have to concentrate in college. That's my experience. It is very nice to interact with the students of 10 to 10, 11, 12 classes. Very interesting. Very interesting, because they are very enthusiastic to know so many things. They are very anxious also. That's fine. But this subject is such that the graduate level students, because I have gone to some college very recently, I talked about climate change. I'm very sorry to tell you, 90% of the students were not aware of it. What's the climate change? You know that? So now you know that topic has come, ocean and climate change. Very important. One more topic, you take it as the microplastics or the plastics in ocean. These two topics now we start with, and then make people aware of that. I don't take much time now. So wish you all the best for your what you call it. It's not a beginning. It is somewhere in an advanced stage. Anything I can do, I will do it for you. That's all. I am very happy to associate with all people. Nothing, and I may not be able to do much, but at least I can see your faces and what you are doing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging words. It means a lot to us, for ECOPs especially. So thank you so much. I would request anyone, if anyone, as I saw, like Valentina already answered her questions. So I don't think, Sunanda, can you notice any additional question?
Yeah,
From
one
anyone?
more thing. Can I tell one more thing?
Yes, sir. Sure.
You don't the local governments, self-government, local self-government, and the government departments, and also the industries. There are many industries utilizing the ocean. Okay. Those people also, I mean, you send all this newsletter and some people may not respond. You don't worry about that. Ports and harbors, you understand? So all those stakeholders of the oceans, okay? So you don't worry whether they responded or not, but slowly it will come. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, okay, so if there is no more questions, so I just want to give it to Sunanda because she has something to tell in the end. And again, I want to thank our dearest speakers because we know that Dr. Paul was very busy. He had a very busy schedule, but he still made time. And also Valentina, like in a very short period, she confirmed. So thank you so much. And again for Dr. Femi, she has been traveling. Falak, Dr. Avanti, thank you so much all. So I just want to tell about this idea. Like when I took this initiative about conducting this webinar, it was just I was part of Ocean Literacy or Asia program. So I just thought we should do something from ECOP India and Indian ECOPs. But then nothing was finalized. I just sent a message to the community, and then Sunanda came and she said, yeah, I'm very much interested and I want to collaborate. And since then we made it, and I think, and very much thank you to Sambit, because as host, the whole technical thing, because I'm not at all a technical person, also not Sunanda. So thank you, Sambit, and all for your patience and for being here. So Sunanda, over to you.
Thank you, Debarati. And it was nice coordinating this event because initially we did not have any idea. We started from scratch. And as Keshav sir said, don't worry about the outcome. Just keep doing what you're doing. So that is more important here. And I'm just quickly concluding the session. We had about close to 35 participants initially, and some fruitful discussions by Debarati on her experiences on during her internship and her ocean literacy activities in India. That was the first talk. Second talk was mine, and I was talking about what is the role of networking among the research scholars in India. Valentina gave an amazing presentation on existing OL activities in global world, and then two interesting concepts about EU4 Ocean and Ocean and Climate Village Initiative, which was like very exciting for me as well. And that two interesting concepts were discussed here. And Avanti talked about blue carbon research, and she was also mentioning about the threats of ocean acidification and climate change and why carbon removal is important. And yes, next interesting speaker here was Falak, and who was talking more about what is Setu and what are the existing ocean literacy activities in India, which was quite new to us, and how they are associating with the school children, and how they are conducting roundabout activities in NIO related to the ocean literacy activity. And we are very happy to collaborate with you, Setu, for in future. And next is definitely, I would like to thank Dr. Femi, because she was traveling, but yet whenever I approach her for any of these activities, it's always a yes from her side, and I love her enthusiasm. And she's an Arctic microbiologist who talked about why Arctic research is important. And I hope that the participants who are here, who are yet to pursue their research, it motivated some of you at least to take up the Arctic research as well. And then, yes, it will be very incomplete if I don't talk about Dr. Paul, who was absolutely motivating, and how he single-handedly started the Estuarine and Coastal Foundation in India, and how he motivated all of us to be an individual people first, and then to start doing all the activities. And he was also mentioning how important it is to have the network, which we were constantly talking about. All the sessions here were narrowed down to this particular thing, that we need a strong network. So what I want to stress here is that we have a strong research foundation. As I see that Avanti and Femi's talk were more research oriented, that means we have a very strong research foundation in India. And that is very important for ocean literacy activities, where we can conduct ocean literacy activities in colleges. As Sir rightly mentioned, that we need to go in undergraduate level and then motivate people to come up for oceanography in their post-graduation and then move forward. And this is very important. And I hope that the assistant professor, Dr. Femi, who's here, who will definitely facilitate the first ocean literacy webinar among the college students. And then we will definitely rock on from there. So yes, and thank you so much, Keshav Das sir, for your kind words. And I would like to mention that during OCCON, we did have a ECOP workshop. And there it was surprising that, yes, it was very surprising to notice that some people were not aware of ECOP and some people were very much aware of ECOP and they wanted to conduct. And then from there, only from that network, we could connect to Anaga, and today she's serving as the moderator, and that is very important. That particular network and having a contact is very important, and that contact has made this ocean literacy webinar a grand success. So thank you once again to all the speakers, all the participants, and special mention to you, Sambit, for handling the technical part. It is very difficult, as I understand, but you made it. And thank you, Debarati, for initiating all of this. And yes, thanks to every single person here. Thank you so much. So if there is anything that participant wants to share or any of the speakers would want to share, it's open to you all. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Yeah.
I'd just like to add that this is Avanti here. So I'd just like to add that let's have this every now and then, as often as possible.
I think we can conclude then, Debarati. I think.
Yes, sure.
Yes. So thanks once again, guys, for joining us. And please do join in large numbers in the next event also. We will definitely make sure that we'll conduct it at least once in a month or once in 2 months. And we will definitely make sure that this is a continuous activity, not a one-time activity. Okay. Yes.
And we can promise that next time we will make it bigger. So,
yes. If possible, a physical event, if we have
in-person event, definitely.
Yes.
Let's try for the funding.
Yes. Okay. So Anaga, would you like to share something?
Yes. Actually, this was such a wonderful session with all the speakers shared their wonderful, presentation, and it was all valuable and informative. And a big humble thank you from me to all the speakers for taking their time and giving such presentation. Thank you all, and also to Team ECOP for having me here and giving me the opportunity to work as a moderator. And thank you all.
Yes, Anaga, we are very pleased to have you. Thank you so much for helping us out.
Thank you.
If no more questions, then I think we can conclude. And 2 more meetings, as a toast to more meetings, we'll conclude right here. Okay. Thank you.